so excited to be here with you today. Would you like to introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure, absolutely, Cole. Thank you for, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited for this opportunity to speak with you today and share some exciting information. My name is Dr. Dwyer, and I am one of the 3 assistant principals here at New Milford High School. And I oversee the last names P through Z, so I work really closely with that alpha range, but I work with all of our students throughout the building, so that's kind of who I am.
That's awesome. What's like the most exciting part of your career so far?
Oof. This is such a good question. Really hard to pick just one thing. I would say I'm going to answer it in a couple different ways if that's okay. Mm-hmm. So one thing is a really exciting point for me in my career was coming here to New Milford. And I know that might sound a little bit cliche because I'm talking to people from New Milford and for New Milford, but I came from a private high school, Holy Cross High School in Waterbury, and I went to Holy Cross High School and I coached at Holy Cross High School, and this moment of transitioning into New Milford was an opportunity for me to grow as a person and as an administrator, and so that was a really exciting time. But in my time here, some of my most exciting moments have really been in preparation for graduation. Graduation for me that day, especially when we were on the football field this past year, to see everybody in the class come together, regardless of what their experiences were, to get that diploma, to have that end goal in sight is just such a proud moment to be part of. And you have your family and your friends there supporting you. And so I just always love graduation at the end. But I'm going to compound that with I love freshman orientation and the start of school too, just because that's the beginning of your journey. And so I absolutely loved welcoming class of 2028 into the building yesterday and looking forward to watching everybody in their journey this year.
That's great. That's really cool, about going from, where you literally grew up into somewhere new. Yeah. That's awesome. Is there something specific that you like about working with high schoolers?
There's so much I really love and enjoy with high school students. I like working with high school students because it's a moment in your life where you really get to start defining who you are and being confident in yourself. And I feel like in high school, in those daily conversations, you could see the growth of individuals, and you start making your own goals and having your own ideas and your own opinions. And that's where that relationship piece in high school is so important for me. That's what I love the most, is just getting to know students and watching them set goals and then achieve those goals and sometimes struggle along the way to those goals. That's probably the best part of my job, is just being able to work with students and our faculty here to get students to reach those goals as well.
Yeah, that's great. Is there something that you're really excited about this specific school year?
There's a lot of things I'm excited for this year. I know we're going to talk a little bit about some of the changes that are happening, but this is my 3rd year here, and I've always loved the number 3. And so I'm just really excited. I feel like when you hit that 3rd year of anything, it's when you really start to, know more people, you know how things are working, you're able to start to implement some different changes. So I'm just excited for the opportunity to be here as we begin a new year. Specifically through this year, I would say I'm really excited about our flex schedule that's coming in. I'm excited for the continuation of some of our pathways work, which I've been working on. And I'm just excited to see our teams continue to grow, and our theater, love that. I love all the different aspects of being in a high school.
Yeah.
So.
What specifically is the Pathways program? Because I know we're going to talk about it a lot, but probably a lot of people don't really know what it is.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So when you get into a new position, you usually inherit responsibility. So sometimes you don't always see behind the scenes. Each assistant principal oversees specific things. So we each oversee specific departments or different. Mr. Best is always doing wingman, and he oversees that and the activity aspects of it. So we each kind of have our own little thing. And I inherited this thing called Pathways when I first started. And I immediately loved it because the idea of a pathway program is helping students be more intentional in what they're planning for whatever their post-secondary plans are. So not necessarily just preparing for college, although that's, the goal for many, but preparing for college and beyond, or careers. So Pathways is intentionally planning and having experiences both in and outside of the classrooms that will prepare students for the next chapter of their lives, really. And so Pathways you're going to begin to see it emerge into, here's a pathway for education, or here's a pathway for criminal justice. And so you're taking classes, not necessarily criminal justice classes, but seeing how psychology plays into criminal justice, or how psychology plays into a business pathway. And so you're going to start seeing the intentionality behind selecting classes and those experiences with those classes.
That's really good. Like as a senior, just like someone who's looking into college and stuff, like that's really similar to how colleges really work, and that's really cool that we get to do it here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like the idea is that why wait until college to explore what you might be interested in? And I had the opportunity to work with a great Pathways committee, and we've had an opportunity now to go to 2 like model pathway schools. And a lot of the goals behind pathway schools is just that, like just to get out there and explore and experience. And sometimes you might decide that it's not for you. So an example is that through Pathways work, this past summer we had some students do an internship program at Milford Hospital. It was a week-long immersion program. And through that program, I think they all did love being in the hospital, but sometimes you might get somebody who's like, ooh, I actually don't really like being in the emergency room. And why wait till college to figure that out?
Yeah.
Let's give more experiences during the year, during the summer, so students could see that. And another really awesome part of that experience was students got to see the other aspects of working in a hospital. So the culinary aspect of it, creating meals for patients and their special diets and stuff. So that's what we want high school students to begin to explore, so they have a better sense of what they might want to do post-secondary.
Yeah. How many different pathways are there going to be? Like, is it nursing and like, I don't know what you have planned so far, but...
So we have 12 like established pathways that we're going to try to build. And so this all actually comes from, I don't know if you remember or heard about some of the freshman academy work we've been doing in freshman seminar class, but this will be our 3rd year doing freshman academy. And freshman academy is something that we want every freshman eventually to take. And the whole idea of freshman academy is beginning freshman year, you know what the high school is about and what your high school experience is, you know about your graduation requirements. You start doing career exploration early so that you could pick classes you might be interested in. From freshman academy, you would then potentially pick a pathway, right? So I might take intro to business and then take a business pathway. And so it's really beginning your freshman year, getting to know what's out there and then making those selections as you go through. And then it would end hopefully with more job shadowing and internships. And so instead of having some of the seniors have like 3 study halls, right? No, like let's not have 3 study halls. Let's go out into the community and have an internship or a job experience. And so that we could say, yes, I love law offices, or it's actually very boring and I don't like it, right? So getting more people to have those types of experiences as well.
Yeah. Is it going to be something that you can start at any point, or do you have to start freshman year?
So the idea of Freshman Academy, there's so many different goals of that, but it really is to first welcome the freshmen in and teach them what high school is all about. Now we're trying to incorporate more of Naviance into freshman year with different types of tests and goal setting so that you're starting to think about what you want to accomplish in high school. And then we're clustering classes together. So you really can start at any time, but sometimes it'd be harder to complete all those classes if you were to decide your junior or senior year, I don't want to do nursing or I want to do nursing. So we're trying to have those conversations earlier. For example, a lot of times you get to your junior or senior year and you're like, oh, I wish that I would have taken that earlier because now I'm interested in this field. We want to move those conversations up so we could plan throughout high school.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, so that's what the goal is. And so we'll be rolling out more information and coming up with some good graphics that will explain what each pathway is. And there's a lot of overlap. And sometimes it's easy enough to switch enough from an intro to business to criminal justice pathway after your freshman or sophomore year. So you're not just stuck in taking a specific set of classes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, like on a different note, what are some of the other changes that we have this year?
Popular changes? No. So we are doing a new flex period, which should be really exciting. And that's going to be a big change. That's big too because it changes our daily schedule. So our schedule is going to be a little bit different in that we're going to have a first period, a second period, what we're going to call a flex period, unless somebody could come up with a really creative name for this, a third period, a fourth period. And so schedules are going to look a little bit different. Timing is going to look a little bit different. So lunches are no longer attached to advisory and 3TR. It's separate. And so your lunches are actually going to be during your third period class. So that's going to be a big change for some students and faculty. We're going from 4 lunches to 3 lunches during that time. So you might have lunch and then class, or class, or class, lunch. So that will be a little bit different for students. What other changes? We're going to have more student choice through this schedule, which I'm really excited about. I think that we want to allow students more opportunities to be engaged in co-curricular activities, as well as have more access for academic help, but be able to develop the skill set to identify what their needs are throughout the year. So yeah, that's kind of what the big changes are. I don't know if you want me to go more into that right now as far as how that's done.
I mean, like, personally, I'm really excited for the flex periods. Like, as someone who wants to be doing all of these, like, extracurriculars, but I have a really busy schedule, it's something, like, me personally, I'm really excited to be able to have that time during the day.
Yeah, I think that it's just repurposing our time. So sometimes you have to look at what's happening and say, like, what can we do that will better serve our community and our students as well as our teachers. And this is going to allow us to have more club time more frequently. It's going to allow teachers to have office hours. So instead of like having to go to 3TR to beg somebody to go see a teacher that you might need help with, like, no, we're going to have office hours and that teacher will be available at this time. And that's also very much like college or even work. Like, I need help with something. How do I schedule an appointment and go get that help from that person? And also I think that we need to like have time to just play and get to know each other as a community, right? So let's go outside and have a soccer club during the day, or play basketball, or practice ensembles for the upcoming concert. And this has the space and time to be able to do so many of those things. It also can increase service opportunities for students through peer tutoring. So NHS peer tutors always have a hard time scheduling because their schedules are so much different, but the whole school is available at the same time within this flex period. So as long as people do what they're supposed to do and sign up for their adaptive scheduler, which will be a new term for everybody, it could be really impactful.
Yeah, I agree.
Could it change your like resumes? Like, all of a sudden it's not just one club. You could get, I mean, your resume is super impressive, but I think that you could start having those conversations with all students about what else are you doing besides being in the classroom. So.
Is there a reason that you decided to do all these changes this year?
Yeah, so I know it feels like everything's happening at once, but it's year 3, and year 3 is when things start. No, so I think that sometimes changes feel like they're all happening at once, but they've been in the works, and you're starting to see things come together. So I said I've been working on pathways since I started, right? Teachers and administration and students have identified that the way we previously have done advisory and 3TR worked for many years, but something needed a change, right? But we didn't just come up with this like in June to be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. There was a committee of teachers that worked in identifying what can we provide students. How often can we provide this? Is it every day? Is it once every week? And through those conversations over a year, 2 years time, we had all these changes, and it just is like a puzzle that came together at the right time. Because if we really want pathways to be successful and to give time for community businesses to come in and talk to our students, now the flex time allows that to happen. If we want to have meaningful conversations about being on track, that's a new term you're going to hear a lot. It's really, we always wanted our students to be on track, but let's use the common language of everyone should be shooting to pass 6 classes. Everybody needs to be here and present, that 95% goal of attendance, getting involved in community activities, and doing the right thing, like following rules. That branding together with the flex, now you're meeting with your advisor, you're just not sitting there. You're talking about, hey, are you on track? Hey, you really should go do DECA because you're really interested in business. And there's more intentionality, not just with your school counselors, but as a community. We're all kind of helping each other reach our goals. So it does feel like a lot of changes, but I think that those changes were just in a time that we needed. So I don't know if I answered the question. Like, that's why. It feels like it's all coming together, but I just think that, the shifts have been happening. We're just trying to make it so that it actually will all work.
All the puzzle pieces fit together.
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything else you want to tell the students or parents who are watching this?
Yeah. So I would say that definitely, like, I think as a community, you'll hear me say at the beginning of the year, like, the flex and advisor, it's kind of like a reset. Some things are going to feel the same, but we all are going to be with our advisors, and in that advisory group now, I want you to think of more of like a small family or collaborative group of support. And so in order for flex to work, you have to fill out an adaptive scheduler, which parents and students will have access to seeing. And that is your student choice. So like my biggest message of all of the flex stuff is that students have to be responsible in filling that out. The advisors will be there to help, but you get to have some of those, you get the ability to make your own decisions until you're not making the right decisions repeatedly. And then we have the ability to say, hey, you're not playing basketball again right now because you're failing 3 classes. You're going to go get extra academic help. So that advisory period, that reset of really valuing that time with whoever your advisor is very important. And I just think that another message is just get involved and take advantage of the opportunities that we're working really hard to provide.
Yeah.
You know, I was so proud of the group of students that went to some of the field trips that we had last year, and they went to the manufacturing roadshow, and they got internships and made connections and networked through these experiences. But we had extra seats on those buses. Like, you know, go and check out what we have for these career explorations, try new classes, try new clubs, and you know, you're only here for 4 years, and so it goes by really quickly, and every day goes by faster, so just make the most of the time that you have every day. And with any changes, and I always tell students this, like, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So with Flex or with Pathways, you could go to study hall every day. You're just not accessing what we're trying to provide you. Or you could have something every day that's building your resume, helping you with academics, getting you more involved, and now you're going to get a little bit more out of that time.
Yeah. So. That's great. Like, I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying. Do you have any questions for me?
What are you most excited about for this year?
I mean, honestly, I'm really excited for the flex periods.
Yeah.
Like for me specifically, it's something that's going to help me a lot to do, like Green Wave TV, that we really haven't had the past few years, and I really want to do that. So like,
it gives you the space and the time to do that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm excited for.
Excellent. And what else would you like to see, you know, administration think about as we prepare for the year? I know that, you know, you guys are often asking us to talk to you, but I would like to hear kind of like, what should we be paying attention to?
I don't know, honestly. I think that, like, all these changes are really positive and great, so I don't really have many notes right now. Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel like we should do, or I know that we have those opening days. We're going to talk a lot during those grade level specific meetings with administration, but is there anything specific that you want us to spend more time going over or clarifying at the start of the year?
This is the controversial question where it's like the phone policy, you know, that we didn't really talk about.
We almost made it, 25 minutes.
And it's where it's like, my opinion, I'm a little goody two-shoes. I'll do whatever.
I'm a rule follower for sure.
But like, I understand why people are upset about it. So I don't know if you have anything that you want to talk about with that.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, the cell phone policy is another thing that it didn't just come up overnight. It's something that we've been researching and following trends. And I'm not sure if you saw, even Governor Lamont had recently made a release that he has a statewide goal of limiting or not allowing smartphones into classrooms. I think that it's going to be challenging, but I do believe it's super important for us to kind of reset the importance of being present and being together for academics. I think that cell phones are super distractive, and, you know, I've been guilty of it as well, right? Like being even at dinner with friends I don't see all the time, and all of a sudden I'm checking Facebook with people that I haven't seen in years. Like, why? Like, why am I doing that? And I miss key parts of that conversation. And I have to check myself and be like, hey, you need to be present in this moment. And we're doing that all the time in classes. So we're missing content, we're missing important aspects of the lesson, but we're also just missing those personal connections with people. And I think that's, I was just reading a book called The Anxious Generation, which honestly, I would say any parent out there, any teacher should read. Somebody said that to me, I was like, all right, how good could this book be? It was phenomenal. It was really heavy on research. And in this book, it was talking about just how even before the pandemic with the smartphone, we've just separated ourselves and we've changed the way that we've interacted with people, and we've lost some important skills. And it's impacted us in our ability to be successful in classrooms. It's impacted mental health. And so why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to reset and find a space where kids are present together so that they could look people in the eye and learn how to listen and learn how to talk and not have to worry constantly about how many likes they have on a social media post or whatever conflict was happening on the bus. Like, let's leave that in a space and be present together in this moment. So it's going to be challenging. It's going to be different, you know. I think that a big part of this is that we're not completely locking the phones away. I think as a high school, we have to help you guys learn how to appropriately use cell phones at the appropriate times. And so we know and recognize that you have to communicate with family, and you have to figure out how to balance that between I'm in a classroom and I'm in a hallway or I'm at lunch. Mm-hmm. And so right now we're kind of giving you guys the opportunity to work on that balance, but really kind of refocusing on what's happening in those content and academic spaces is important.
Yeah, I agree. Is there a certain thing that you're going to do to make sure that people are following this? Because I think one of the things that I'm worrying about is, like, I see how, like, there's so many kids who are just going to either, like, ignore it. And, like, is there going to be, like, an extra step where kids are going to actually listen to this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you look closely at the cell phone protocol that we have put out, there's obviously the classroom expectations and progressive consequences that happen, but administration could and will come in and remove students from the classroom and require parents to come get phones from spaces if they're really not upholding to what our expectations are of this policy. And so I think that's an added layer, that's an inconvenience not just for the student but for the parents. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully that conversation will, those conversations will become less as the year goes on, and people will understand that this is a policy that's here to stay. Mm-hmm. But you and I both know that students will and people always will push boundaries and rules, and so we just have to stay true to what that protocol is and hold each other accountable. And when they're not doing that, we need to be able to remove them from the classroom.
Yeah.
That's kind of the difference, is a quicker removal into an APS office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. I think it'll be good. I was here during the summer, and there were some students here working on some work, and we had the same policy. And it was our first kind of run through with this. And at the end of a 3.5-week period, I was talking to one of the students. And I will not name who the student is because they promised me, I had a promise for true feedback. And they said, I was really against it. And the first day I didn't want to give my phone up. And the second day I argued. But when I finally just did what they were asking me to do, I actually really was more focused.
Oh, wow.
And I actually felt the difference. And so just in 3 weeks, somebody who was very resistant to it in the beginning doesn't want everyone to know that they think it's a good thing, but they said it was a good thing. And so hopefully that will be the message and the ripple effect. And that takes over as the common understanding of why we're doing something.
Yeah, that's great. I don't have any. We covered a lot here today.
We did.
If you have anything else to add?
I don't. I hope that you and everybody knows I'm super excited for this year. The administration has been working hard over the summer, but the best part is just when we get to see all the students start the year. Mm-hmm. And so we're excited to welcome everyone back and looking forward to another awesome year at New Milford High School.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next year, and I'm so glad that we got to talk.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.